Hello, my name is Mark. I'm a concept designer working for the entertainment industry, and with this demo I'm trying to show you how you can easily create a fairly detailed looking environment painting, but really quickly and really effectively. So first I'm just blocking in the colors, blocking in the base color. I'm planning to do a winter environment, so I'm just blocked in this middle hue, desaturated blues. And in the first part of the painting process, I'm just focusing on silhouettes. So I'm using the lasso tool to build up shapes and silhouettes of the mountains because I'm planning to paint the mountain castle. And as you see, I created a new layer for the castle, what is going to be my main focal point. And this way I can keep this as a separate silhouette, and then after a while I just start to paint inside that silhouette and jumping back and forward to refine the silhouette and paint inside the silhouette the other shapes. So I'm using, for erasing back the silhouette, I'm using a hardish brush. And now when I'm happy with the overall silhouette, so didn't go too much into details, but I have an interesting shape. So I jumped back on the background and I'm trying to push it a bit further, so define the middle ground where my focal point, so my castle actually fades into the mountains and into the nature. So as you can see, I don't really touch the mountains in the background, just fairly blocking in some light and shadows, but that's all. But I'm focusing more on the mid-grounds where the castle stands. And now the next step is figuring out the light source, so the lighting conditions of the piece. So I imagined a really subtle overcast lights through the fog. So I plugged in the sun, but we still have a definite light source. So now I'm painting inside the castle. So I'm trying to paint the walls and the areas what is in light and what is in shadows. So now this is the part where I'm figuring out the whole structure of the building, of the whole castle. So I'm trying to create a mix between a fantasy and a sci-fi castle, but more in the veins of fantasy. So like the mountain castle of the magicians or something. And here I introduce a secondary color. If you put a different color than your overall color scheme into around your focal point, then you can easily strengthen your focal point. So as you can see, my overall painting was generic, desaturated blue, and when I put an opposite color, what was an orangey yellowish color around my focal point, it started to pop out more. And as you can see, I'm jumping back and forward between my foreground and background. That I'm doing this to keep the details on the same level, because you can easily go overboard with the details at various parts. So I really want to focus just on the castle, but still, if you keep your background and all the other areas just as patches, your painting gonna fall apart. So that's why I have to just add tiny details where the light hits the mountains. And now it's time to adding the greeble part. So it's like I'm using a really scattered brush with a tree shape, and just covered the hills with tree-like patches basically, and I'm doing the same with bricks on the walls of the castle. So I'm slowly pushing the whole painting towards realism and more detail. But as you can see, I'm pretty much just so I don't really add more details. I'm just refining the shapes and refining the silhouettes and uh, the silhouettes inside the bigger silhouette. Like what I'm doing now is basically strengthening the perspective of and making it more accurate. Like this, adding more towers, small towers and bridges. And as you can see, I don't really zoom in, so it's always zoomed out. If you're creating rough sketches, it really helps if you don't zoom in too much. Just handle it as a bigger thumbnail, and it's just much easier to see through the whole composition. I'm going back and doing exactly the same thing what I said before, adding an opposite color to my main focal point. And my main focal point is the center of the castle. And I wanted to show there is life, so there are lots of people living inside this castle. So I wanted to show the warm lights of the interiors as an opposition to the desaturated, cold hues of the surroundings. And here you see I'm just adding with a flat square brush. I'm just adding small patches around the middle section of the castle, just to suggest there are further architecture inside the castle, like almost like a small village inside the outer walls. So when you're painting something like this, it always helps if you try to create some sort of a backstory. Even if you can't see the thing, just imagine how this castle could work, how the life of the castle could work, and then you instantly start adding all the details, what enhances the storyline, what you would like to tell to the viewer. Yeah, and now I'm pretty much finished with the base thing. So I'm adjusting the colors, the contrast a bit. It always helps to punch the lighting a bit. This I'm doing this mostly with a color touch layer, just to add another level of glowy, more saturated colors. And yeah, I missed something from the sky. I just felt it's empty, so I started to add these airships. What are approaching the city or this huge castle, just floating there, waiting to dock. And now I can call this pretty much finished. If I want to, I still would like to push it a bit more. So yeah, adding effects like snowflakes blown by the wind, and adding a bit more mood to the whole piece. But the main thing of the design is pretty much finished. So this is just making it a bit more presentable. Yeah, I'm using this. This is also part of the finish, so I'm just blocking in various paintable things, and I'm trying to add another foreground element, but I realized it just doesn't really work. So I think a bit more contrast to the foreground to have more depth in the piece. Yeah, and after this, I just let the whole piece to rest for a couple of days, and then I went back and decided to add a bit more texturing, just to add more visual noise to the whole piece. So as you can see, I grabbed 3 or 4 photos just from the net and just dropped it on top. So this is like a brick wall, just a bit more detail. And the fun thing is, I use this bronze plate for the top of the buildings, for the roofs, because it had that kind of ornament what I wanted to show. And this is so you shouldn't be too concerned about textures. I mean, you can use anything basically you want for anything. So it's not, so you don't have to use a roof texture to make a roof, for example. So, like for example, I'm using for skins and pores. I'm using, most of the time I'm using various concrete textures. So be creative with your texturing work. And the main thing is to suggest something similar about what you're after. And it doesn't matter how you achieve it. So yeah, I'm making a bit more accurate the whole thing. Yeah, working with the selections again, just to have the architecture more accurate. Yeah, and this is a picture of Prague, I think. And I just drop it on top of an overlay layer, and you see it doesn't really add much to the whole picture. Just another level of visual noise, just another level of detail, what you suggest. But it still makes the final image much more rich. Yeah, and I'm doing the same with the forest. So pushing a tiny bit further with texture brushes, and because I added more details to the castle, I just have to add a tiny bit more details to the surroundings as well. Yeah, and some flags to finish it off, and just to add a bit more movement. And I also wanted to make these airships a bit more unique, so I added these wing-like things to make them more magical, more like they are coming from fairy tale, to fit more to the design of the castle. Yeah, you need birds. You need birds to all the concept paintings. That's not true, but it's just another level of noise and detail. And these are really the finishing touches. couple of more random lights in the very middle of the focal areas. And yeah, it's pretty much finished. So yeah, that was it. I hope you learned something from this whole process, and thank you for watching.